Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. Bob Lines here with another card flip. Hedge Card Manager on YouTube here. Here is a box of 1987 Topps, a baseball box. So this box came about from after I bought my first 3 boxes. I was getting back into the game, and I didn't know the game. And I realized really quickly that you need to bet on cards that have value in 7, 8s, and 9s. It's better if the case has value in lower grades. So I learned that from the first case I bought, and I realized, I looked at the values of those cards, and they were only like $100 in 10s. And they were like barely anything in 9s, and I didn't know anything about PSA grading and how expensive it was. So I was like, all right, I got to change my strategy. So I came across this box for $40, and I put a bid on it. And luckily I didn't win that because it was like $20 for shipping. So it ended up being like over $50 box. Now then I came across this box, and it wasn't wrapped. The other one was wrapped. So I kind of learned a lesson right off the bat. If it's not wrapped, then you kind of get what you pay for. And what you pay for is packs that look a little warped. So I learned this lesson really quick. But there's a chance, there's a rookie card in here, but there's a good chance that rookie card isn't a high grade. And if it's not a high grade, then, it's only worth a couple bucks. But it's still worth a couple bucks. That's the thing. You got Barry Bonds in here. You got Mark McGwire. You got Bo Jackson. You got Wade Boggs. You got some big names in here. And you got some fun memories, too. I remember these guys. I remember a lot of it because of the steroid era. I got into baseball, not really into it. I just watched it during the steroid era when these guys were hitting home runs, and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were chasing the home run record. I was into it. I think everybody was into it. It was awesome. And I didn't care that it turned out they were taking medicine, that they were taking what they call performance enhancers. It didn't bother me. And then later on, it really didn't bother me when I found out that they all knew that each other were taking performance enhancers. So if the players don't mind, then I don't mind. Now, they always say, we can't do it because of the children. We got to look out for the children. Well, children need to understand reality. And reality is these guys are more athletic than 90% of any human being that's ever lived. I wanted to be an athlete. That's all I ever wanted to do is play professional sports. I knew right away in my life that wasn't going to happen. Now, I still tried, and I still tried to play sports and make that dream come true. But I knew it wasn't going to be because of my athletic ability. My dad had a friend from church that played minor league baseball, and he played a little bit of professional baseball. And his son could do backflips. And my dad was like, that's an athlete. You're not an athlete. And I was like, you're right. He ended up becoming a professional bicycle rider. And he wasn't even that successful in it. He was trying to be a professional athlete too. It's just that competitive. Now, taking steroids, what I call performance enhancers, anti-aging medication, if you will, is gonna help you if the other guy's doing it. But if you don't do it right, that becomes a sport in itself. So I don't like it because I think that becomes its own sport. It becomes who has the better doctor, and then the person with the better doctor then wins the race. Like it's like watching horse racing. Those horses are on steroids. No one seems to get bothered that horses are on steroids. I knew a horse trainer, and I was like, "You give your horses steroids, right?" And he's like, "Yeah. How else would we get them to run that fast?" And I was like, "How come no one cares about that? No one really seems to care about that." So here we go. We're opening the first pack, and as always, we just enjoy the beginning. Oh, they put the gum. Oh, it's on the back. That's good. Oh, look at that gum stain. We got a big old gum stain. I open a few of them so I can go through them a little faster. And then I will rip right through these. So 1987, I was, 6? I'm 41. I was born in 81. So, yeah, I don't know how old I was. But I definitely didn't start watching baseball till Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were hitting the long ball. That's kind of when I started watching baseball. And then kind of never watched since. And then, I would go to like Mariner games when I was in college. But other than that, and I like going to baseball games. It's probably my favorite sporting event to go to. I've only been to a couple football games and in Buffalo, and it's too cold. I'm a Chicago fan because we lived in Chicago, outside of Chicago, Oak Park, in the beginning of my life. So I've always rooted for the Bears, Bulls, and Blackhawks. Not really baseball. I never rooted for the Cubs or the White Sox. But Ed O'Neill. That's Ed O'Neill? Oh, no. It's not Ed O'Neill. It's Ed Oline. Ed Oline. I didn't even look at it. The reason I got excited about Ed O'Neill, I have a feeling I'm going to get a lot of these Eddie Murrays. I already had a couple from my other box I opened. And every time I see that, I'm like, that's Eddie Murphy. But it's not that Eddie Murphy. And it's not even Eddie Murphy. It's not even his name. But that's what it looks like. There was a card I used to get called Neil Anderson. It was a football player, as a running back for the Bears. And he kind of replaced Walter Payton. He was decent. He made the All-Star team once. But I always refer to common cards like that as my Neil Anderson. It means something to me because I know his name. But to other people, it's like they don't know who that guy is. And I don't know who that guy is. But he's kind of got a cool name. Every time I see him, I'm like, that's Eddie Murphy. It's not that Eddie Murphy. So, I would butcher their names if I said their names. So, I got to learn how not to touch the card as much, too, when I do this. I have still yet to come up with a card that I know the player. Again, I don't know much about baseball, which makes it not as fun when you don't know anything about the sport. This is a business venture. I'm trying to make money so then I can do my own card collection. That's the goal. So I had a card collection. It was taken from me, and then I want to buy the cards I want to buy. So I'm going to jump back in the game. I had all these cards. I had all these boxes, and I had cards like this. So I'm going to do this and then flip them and then buy the cards I want to buy. That's the plan. Now, we shall see if that is going to come into fruition, because if we don't come across anybody that I know, then it might be short-lived. But it's fun nonetheless. I do enjoy this. And I have an eBay account. I put some of the cards, the ones I don't know about, or the ones I know a little bit about, I'll put up on my eBay. I'll start the auction at a penny. Keep the shipping and handling as low as possible. And then allow other people to bet on these. And I'm going to do a video where I buy raw cards. The question I have, this one's kind of stuck together. The question I have about buying raw cards is, did the person do what I'm doing here, where they went through them and then they're selling the card? Here's Pete Rose. I know him because he bet on his own team to lose or something. If he bet on his own team to lose, and he threw games and purposely didn't do well, then I don't like him. I don't know exactly what he did. There's a controversy of whether or not he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't like it if he actually threw games. If he bet on his team to win and then um, played hard so his team would win, I don't have a problem with that. UFC fighters will bet on themselves. They'll have their friend go and take out a bunch of money to bet on themselves to win. Now, if they're betting on themselves to lose, then they're throwing the fight. I mean, that's terrible. That's fixing the fight. That's not cool. So to fix that problem, yeah, they probably shouldn't bet on themselves. They probably shouldn't be allowed to gamble on themselves, but they do. I mean, but most of them bet on themselves to win. So Ricky Anderson, I thought that said Ricky Henderson for a second. I know who Ricky Henderson is. He's Mr. Stolen Base. That's not him. And I don't think he was later. He was in the 90s. But I liked him. I still, besides Pete Rose, though, I still don't know any of these people's names. I don't remember any of these guys. So this will probably be it for me for baseball for a while. Hopefully I learned my lesson on baseball. Let me open a few more packs here. But I still want to, I want to look for that King Griffey card, and I want to, I wouldn't mind hunting for like Alex Rodriguez in those years. For my money, Alex Rodriguez is the best baseball player who's ever lived. But that's not, a very educated opinion. He seems to have the best stats and stuff. So, but what do I know? Not baseball. All right, just opening some packs here. Give me a second. I was really stuck to the back of that one. All right, let's continue here. I'm going to put a little winner circle over here. Leave the cards I know. So we'll start with Pete Rose. And I'm not mad at Pete Rose or anything. But if he did do that, that's kind of scumbag move. He played to win the game, not to make money. At least that's why we're watching it. So. Jack Howell. I feel like I know that guy's name. I don't know. I feel like I've heard of him before. Roger Clemens, the Rocket. He played for the Yankees. I think he won a World Series for the Yankees. That's probably a pretty good card. I'll put that in the winner's circle. Sorry, trying to make it less blurry. Dusty Baker. That's the manager. He was a manager of San Francisco Giants during the Barry Bonds home run. I'll put him in the winner's circle just because I like the guy. He was a character. I don't really remember too much about him, but I remember remembering him. I remember I remember him being like a thing. Like he was just a character. I can't remember why though. Maybe getting kicked out of games or stuff. I don't know, but he was funny. There was something about him. Ozzie Guillen. I'm gonna put this in the winner's circle too. I'm gonna put this in the winner's circle. Yeah, I think this is. It's not a rookie card or anything, but he was a name. He was a player. Oh, Roger Clemens. This is an '86 record breaker card. All right, another Rocket. I think his nickname was Rocket. That's a good sign there. Getting some names I know. He was I think his thing was being able to pitch the fastball. I think that was like his pitch. He was a starter, and he threw pretty hard and pretty fast. He was pretty good. Here we got a Jamie Moyer Cubs card. It's pretty cool. He was my neighbor. I always got to say that. The house I lived in was like a college house. It was only like $2,500 a month to rent, and there was like 20 of us that lived in this house. It was like a 15-bedroom house. It was a huge house, and it was a really nice neighborhood. And the neighbors just hated us. We weren't like partiers or anything, but there was just, we always parked our cars on the street and stuff, and we always had like junky cars, and we were always working on our cars outside on the street and stuff, and they just hated it. So I guarantee he knows who I am. I guarantee you he knows. If he finds out that I was one of those guys that lived in the house, he's like, yeah, I hated those guys. But we weren't like loud or anything. But they're just, rich snobs. He was actually probably pretty cool. I don't think he complained. He didn't show up to like the meeting where they said we can't live there. They tried to like kick us out. They tried to force the Earl Horsheiser. I know his name. The Dodgers. My grandmother liked the Dodgers. She was a huge baseball fan. The condition on these cards are actually not bad. I should mention that. The centering looks pretty good. They're not super warped. At least I haven't gotten to the warped package. There are definitely some warped packages. So far for 30, it was like $30. It was like, no, it was 40 with shipping. So this wasn't bad. I'll go over later on, my plan to try to make my money back. I don't really have a plan when I buy them, at least yet. I kind of have a plan in my mind. I buy this box because it's a good price. I buy this box because there's players in here that might be worth something. Tom Seaver. I think people know his name. I don't think it's worth anything. I'm not going to put him in the winner's circle. I should have put Jamie Moore in the winner's circle. I like to save his cards. Just because I thought it was interesting. I like pitchers that pitch funny and pitch weird. I think it's kind of cool. I think like when I get my own card collection, it's going to be like weird stuff. Like things that are just like oddball cards. Definitely like a lot of Olympic sports and stuff like that. I'm into that kind of stuff. Just because I remember it, because I watched it. I like the Olympic sports a lot. Definitely MMA. Definitely boxing. I've changed over the years, so I became a big MMA fan, and I kind of stopped watching traditional sports. So the way I talk about sports, you'll kind of, if you know anything about combat sports, you'll kind of, if you understand that's where I'm coming from, you'll kind of start to read me a little bit, that I'm not, a big fan. Well, it's just I just became a fan of other things, and then I talk about it the way we talk about it for those sports. So anyways, Nolan Ryan. Trying to get it so it's less blurry. There we go. I got to put him over here. So I'm going to move the winner circle. I'm going to move the winner circle over here. I should put sleeves on him. He's going to go in the winner circle. As always, stay tuned to the end of the video to hear my plan, how I'm gonna, what I'm gonna do with these cards, and then as always, like and subscribe, and then check out the eBay page too. Head Cards Manager, like hedge fund manager kind of thing. Hedging is all about there's two styles in my mind of hedging. Hedging is, I'm doing it defensively, where you basically diversifying your portfolio, but I'm not saving, I'm selling. So, I saved as a kid, and then at this time in my life, I was gonna sell, and then collect the ones I like. But then my card collection had gotten taken from me, so I decided to start over and do it as cheap as possible. And then I also hedge my bets as if like I am, if you bet Michael Jordan, I bet Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. If you bet the Bulls, I bet basketball. If you bet basketball, I bet football. If you bet sports, I bet sports and entertainment or MMA, or I go with the market, I go against the market. And what a hedge fund manager will do is steer the market that way. They'll pump things in the market that aren't worth anything yet, but because they put things in the market, then they become worth something. And the speculators do that too, but the speculators do that with one card. So they bet on one card to go up. They just play that game of buy low, sell high, buy high, sell higher. And then they buy a card and hold it, or buy cards and then try to stimulate the markets by having that card go up. And that's great too. And everybody, is going to find what they do, what they're good at. I'm not good. And it's not that I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it, but I also just don't like it. I don't like thinking all day about what the card is worth. I enjoy opening cards. I enjoy the memories. I enjoy collecting cards first and foremost. So that's why I do it. And then I want to make a little money so I can do it, and I can afford to do it by letting the hobby pay for itself through the collecting market. And I like talking about business, and I like using the business terms, and it's a lot of fun. So that's why I call myself the hedge card manager, because I'm hedging. I'm not speculating, but I am speculating. But I'm mainly hedging my bets, and then backing up my bets, and letting you guys then take my mistakes and win. If you take my mistakes and win, if I have cards in here that I don't know the value of, and then you take them and make a bunch of money on it, that pumps all that money in the market. Then it's gonna, people are gonna be playing. Everybody needs to win in order to keep playing. What I like about this hobby is the top is the bottom. If you buy a card for $1 million, that's the cap of that card. You own it. You own the $1 million card. So is it worth $1 million too? Not until someone says it is. And you just said it was worth $1 million. So now that's the bottom of that card. That's the top is the bottom. Everywhere else, everybody else is now going to chase that $1 million card, and we're going to trade for, at lower rates. So I can't, I'm not a big player yet or anything, not even close. But I got a Mark McGuire. That's pretty fun. Mark McGuire. Yeah. Trying to see if the back. I was trying to see. I thought it was his rookie card. I think it is. It had all these, I guess, his minor league stats on there. But that's exciting. Darryl Strawberry, All-Star. I like Darryl Strawberry. I got to put Mark McGuire in the winning circle. I'm gonna go ahead and put some sleeves on him real quick. I got gum on my little mat here. I don't want to get gum all over it. That's exciting. That's fun. So he lied to Congress. This is a funny story. Congress, I don't know if you know about the United States government, but they basically pass bills on what we spend the money on. And then every once in a while, they decide to go into the Capitol building and argue about things they think are important, like pop culture. And they thought it was important to question these baseball players because a couple guys had gone out and said that these baseball players were taking performance enhancers. So they called them into Congress and had congressional hearings to see if this was true. And they made them swear on the Bible that they were telling the truth. And they asked them straight up if they were taking performance enhancers. And Mark McGwire said, I have never taken a steroid and I've never taken an anabolic. And the guy who they call the president right now, the guy that can barely talk, the guy with dementia, he said, baseball? I love baseball. And he was mortified that these athletes were taking this thing called testosterone. Now, the baseball players, they probably take HGH as well. I'm going to put Darryl Strawberry in here. I don't know if this is worth anything, but I remember the guy. He kind of went through some hard times in life, but he seemed like a good player. Ozzie Smith, I know his name. I don't know why I know his name. That card's like super warped. We're getting some of my warped cards. Not too bad, but that one was kind of, the Ozzie Smith is kind of warped. Anyways, back to the story of Mark McGwire. He straight up lied. Like what he did in front of Congress, like you don't really have to answer their questions, and they act like lawyers and they're not, but it is a felony to lie to them, and he did lie to them, and that's bad. That's bad. I don't know if he had to serve jail time for it, but he did get in trouble for it. He made a mistake on that one. Andy Pettit handled the steroid issue the best. He just admitted it and said, yeah, I did it. And no one even knows he did steroids. No one even remembers. Like, he did steroids his whole career. It's a checklist card. So that was that. Dan Quinsbury. Looks like a submarine pitcher, was a sidearm pitcher. I like those guys. Here's another Jose Canseco. So Jose Canseco started the whole steroid thing. I just think it's interesting. I like the fact that it happened. I mean, I don't know. I'm not pro steroids or anything, but I just understand it. The thing is when you watch MMA, you realize that they were all on performance enhancers. They say like it's a really hard sport. Even the ones that were like BJ Penn and like Michael Bisping, who were like so anti-steroids, they were on EPO. Like, it hasn't come out yet that Bisping was on EPO, but like the rumors are he was on EPO. George, one of my favorite fighters, BJ Penn, he got caught using IVs, and they always say, "Oh, you're using IVs because of the weight cut." No, you're using IVs because you're taking EPO, and you're putting your own. It's better to put your own blood back in your body. I rode bicycles, mainly fixed gear and single speed, but I rode enough to like realize that even like amateur bicycle riders take EPO and they take testosterone. When you get to any higher levels of sports, you realize real fast that they do take medicine, man. So, Don Mattingly, there we go, nice mustache. I know him from Seinfeld. He was in a bunch of Seinfeld episodes, or at least his name was. I watched a lot of Seinfeld. There was Ed O'Neill and then him. Kirby Puckett, he was pretty good. These ones, unfortunately, are a little warped, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to take them to get graded, or if they're even worth it. I know. Oh, I should put, I got to stop here. I got to put, Kirby Puckett goes in the winning circle. Absolutely. And, who else I wanted to put? Don Mattingly, yeah. Oh, that's not Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly goes in the winning circle as well, if I can find him. Oh, it's right here. No, I keep doing that. Here, we'll look at Kirby Puckett while I look for Don Madden. Here we go. Oh wait. Oh, here we go. Don Mattingly All Star. Yeah. It's always fun when you get with baseball. Um, it's always fun when you get names that you know. I like hockey cards the best because um, I don't know most of the names for hockey either, but I know a few. And when I get those hockey names, I know. Like I know them pretty well. Like I watched, or at least I followed their careers. I played a little hockey in college. Not that I was any good, but I played kind of my whole life. So I follow the great, the good players. Another checklist card. I don't know if the steroid thing will affect the value of any of these cards, or they have. I think it did for a while, but maybe it went away. Who knows what people think about that? I know, like government people don't like it, but just average folks, like I think they get over stuff like that through time. Sammy Sosa, though, like unless there's another controversy, Sammy Sosa, he corked his bat, um, and it seems like he's got some other mental issues. He like dyes his skin, which so did Michael Jackson. Like I know people that think Michael Jackson's a white guy. Like Michael Jackson dyed his skin. It's kind of weird, but I mean, whatever. I'll buy a Michael Jackson card. He's one of the most famous people ever. He's a he's the man. Oh, there's a card stuck in here. I missed a card stuck. Let's see who. Will Clark. Big gum stain on the back of that one. I played softball in college, and I was actually the GM of my team. I put together a pretty good team. We won the championship twice, and then we lost twice in the finals. There was a bunch of basketball players from my college. It was a Division II college, and they all played on my team. Now they weren't allowed to. There was only supposed to be one or two varsity athletes on an intramural team. Otherwise, you get in trouble. Another Clemens. That's pretty cool. No Barry Bonds yet. No Bo Jackson yet. Um, but at least we got something. At least we got something going. And we weren't that good, but we were good enough, and we didn't really try that hard. But I was into softball. But I mean, who isn't into softball? Softball's fun. Kyle Ripken, that's pretty cool. I had a bunch of his cards. I played on the Orioles in Little League, so I knew who he was. He was like the only Oriole that I knew was any good. Not the best centering, but I don't know. I try not to worry about it too much in the beginning when I first open them. I just open them, just enjoy it, and then we'll deal with that stuff later deal with like the business part later. But anyways, the story about the softball team was my college had recruited this guy, this transfer student. I won't use last names, but I'll use his first name. His name was Jason. And he had played, right out of high school, he played for the Mets. He played professional baseball, and then he threw out his elbow. And then he played college basketball, and he was our junior college transfer. And I heard he played professional baseball because my friends who were on the team lived in our dorm, and he was staying in our dorm. And he was like old guy. Like he was like, 23. I'm like, 20. And here's this dude that played professional baseball staying in a dorm. So I'm like, this is crazy. But anyways, I recruited him on his recruiting trip to play on my team. These cards are super warped. I'm glad they don't have like a Bo Jackson or something in these, because they're super warped. So anyways, he's like, yeah, play on your team. So a year later comes by, he's at the school, and I knew the guy, I was buddies with the guy, and then he totally sandbagged me. He went on another team. He's like, it's not fair. You have too good of a team. I got to play with the competition to make it fair, which actually worked out to our advantage because Howie was my boss. I did janitorial duties at the gym, and Howie was in charge of the intramural program, and he said we were only allowed to have 2 varsity athletes on the intramural team. Here we go, Bo Jackson. Yeah, Bo Jackson. Bo knows everything. That was like a commercial they did. He played football, and then he blew out his knees playing football. Was he a better football? That's the question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. He was really good at football, but he blew out his knees and never played much. He played for the Raiders. I remember that. And then he was really good at archery, like really good at like bow hunting and stuff. Surprised he never like had like a bow hunting show or something, but he was really good at bows and arrows. He's like really into that. He's from the South. They like stuff like that. And luckily it wasn't in the last pack. I mean, these cards aren't as bad as that last pack. That last pack was a little rough. This pack's not. The first packs were good. I mean, that's what you get when you buy a case that's not, that's not sealed. It's not sealed for a reason. The reason that it's not sealed is they took it out of the seal. Why did they take it out of the seal? Because it got wet. Keith Hernandez. Yeah, Keith Hernandez. I love Keith Hernandez. He was in like, not just one, he was in like 2 Seinfeld episodes. I think it was like, he was in a bunch of Seinfeld episodes. Those are great episodes. Great episodes. If you don't know, Jerry Seinfeld, I'm going to put the Keith Hernandez in the winner's circle for sure. Did I put make sure I put everything else. Here, let's look at Keith while I organize my life here. Jerry was a Mets fan in the show. I don't know if that's true in real life. George was a Yankee fan. Now, George's character is based off of Larry David. Larry David was a comedian living in New York City. And that wasn't very funny as a stand-up comedian. Jerry Seinfeld knew him and he was his buddy, and then they developed a show based off of their friendship, basically, and then how a comedian comes up with their jokes, essentially. And how they come up with their jokes is they just, make jokes about, like, their life and their friends and stuff. And Larry had knew a guy that was based off of the Kramer character. And I believe his name was something like Kramer. And they did an episode like that about how I'm the real Cosmo Kramer. Anyways, Larry David might be a Yankees fan. I don't know. They're both from Long Island, I believe. I know Jerry's from Long Island, but he roots for the Mets. And I think Kramer was a Mets fan in the show. Or maybe he didn't like the Mets. He was mad at Keith Hernandez. So he was a Mets fan. He was mad at Keith Hernandez because Keith Hernandez made an error. But then he met Keith Hernandez, and then he explained to Kramer that it wasn't his fault; it was someone else's fault, or it was like a bird or something. And Newman was in on it too. Newman was mad at Keith Hernandez. They're like, I despise Keith Hernandez, and it's pretty funny because that's how kind of I am. If like I met someone that was a player, Darryl Strawberry, I like Darryl Strawberry. If I met someone that I had beef with as a fan, and I met them like later in my life, yeah, I would not necessarily be friendly to them, um, just because a friend of mine was going on a date with him or dating him or something. Elaine was dating him, and then Jerry became friends with him, and he asked Jerry to help him move. Then he asked Jerry to like pick him up from the airport, which, um, is just they made jokes about like, is that weird? Because people usually don't do that unless you're like really really close or something. And then Elaine's like, "Am I dating him or are you dating him? Like, what's the deal there?" That was like kind of the episode. And yeah, I didn't know anything about the guy before Seinfeld, and I honestly don't know anything about him. I know a little bit. I guess he did play in the World Series with the Mets, and I think he did make that mistake or something, and they were making jokes about that. But yeah, that's the Keith Hernandez saga. Barry Bonds rookie card from the Pirates. I was growing up, he was playing for the Giants. I got to see him play live, and he hit a home run right over my head. Rafael Palmeiro. He was pretty good. Anytime you see a Pirates card like this, you're like, oh, is that Barry Bonds? But I like Barry Bonds. I like the way he played. They pitched to him. Well, they didn't pitch to him the first three times he came up to bat. I bought a scalp ticket for like $10. The game was already going. I thought for sure I had bought like a fake ticket or something. But I was like, I'll take a chance. I only had like a couple bucks in my pocket. So we were on vacation, and I ended up walking down there, and I ended up going. And yeah, he hit one right over my. The last time they pitched to him, or the only time they pitched to him, he hits one right over my head. I was sitting in right field. It was awesome. Cal Ripken. That's cool. Put that in the winning circle. Turn back the clock. 1982. Ricky Henderson. So I guess I was way wrong on Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson played back in 1982. I will put that in the winning circle. It's a little warped. I don't know if it's worth anything. It's probably like a remake card or something. But you never know, like those refractors and those like specialty cards. I was never into those as a kid. I was always into the base cards. I like the cards. These cards where they're like pictures of them, pose pictures, they're okay, but I like the pictures like this where they're actually in the game. Like it's a picture from the game. That's what I like. But anything that's rare is obviously going to be worth more money. But as far as the memory goes, I thought that was stuck. As far as the memory goes, it's all about a situational game, a live situation. So we got almost a little more than halfway done. I'm gonna put him in the winning circle just because of that Seinfeld episode. So George was trying to get some of the Yankees to go to Jerry's girlfriend's telethon, and he's like, "Who'd you get? Did you get Don Mattingly, or did you get like one of the big names, Ed O'Neill, and he got Danny Tarnoval. Which I don't know if that's a big name. I don't know if he was good or not. And then they were late to the thing because George thought someone flipped him off. The whole episode, like, people were like giving George the middle finger, and it turns out they weren't. And what happened was he chased this guy down. They were driving there, and the guy had broken his hand, and his only finger was his middle finger. And George goes an hour out of their way to chase this guy down, like in a high speed car chase with Danny Tarnoval in the car. And it turns out the guy didn't even flip him off. So they get to the telethon, and it was a disaster of a telethon or something. But it was funny. Another Jamie Moyer card. The Eddie Murphy lookalike. It looks like Charlie Murphy, actually. For those Dave Chappelle fans, I think this one is stuck together. Yeah, 2 for 1. And it was Jose Cruz. I put these cards up, not all of them because that would just take too much time, but I put these cards on my eBay for auction, starting at a penny. So right after you watch the video, go check out my eBay. It's in the description. And then if you want to bid on any of these, you might be able to get them for a couple cents. The good ones, if I take it to PSA, then I don't do it for a penny usually. Well, I don't know how I'm going to run those auctions. Everything will be a little different. I get into that more in the end of the video after I evaluate. I sit back and I evaluate the cards, and then I'll tell you my plan, what it's going to be, and then you can go check it out on the eBay account. But as far as, picking up some of these cards super cheap, you can. And I won't put the warped ones on there, and obviously the ones that are off-centered, I'll let you know, so you know what you're buying, so you don't have to spend $1. You want to get a card, but it's $1, and you want a chance, to maybe go, roll the dice with it, maybe take it to PSA. Well, this will give you a better chance of buying, knowing whether or not you at least get to see the card. I'm not going to guarantee you it's got a chance or anything, but what I can do is tell you it's this card you're buying. So when you buy a raw card, a lot of times it's like, oh, buy 3 and the price goes down. Well, am I not buying the card that's in the picture? Because I want to see the card before I buy it. And when you buy raw cards, you see the card, and sometimes it looks good shape, and sometimes it doesn't look in good shape. And when you buy them from card dealers, I don't think you're buying the card you're looking at. I think you're buying a card that they have in a box somewhere, and then they posted a picture of just another card they found on the internet of that card, and you can't look at the condition of the card, and you can't, actually see the centering of the card. Now, I'm not gonna guarantee you if it's good centering or not, but I can let you see the card, and then I can also put it up for a penny. So shipping and handling might be, a little bit of money, but you can still have a chance of getting a cheap card. There's no reason to spend $1 for a Jamie Moyer card. I mean, there's just no reason to. People want to make their money back on selling cards for $1. I mean, what I do is I put them up for a penny auction, and then that drives people to my store, my eBay store, and then you can check out, and everything's at auction. So if it goes, and I usually, for the graded cards, I usually start the starting bid pretty low. So usually half of what I'm willing to take for it. So I'm willing to make a loss on it. This is gambling after all, and it's just fun. It just allows me to be able to open cards and have fun. And remember, or remember what I remembered and remember what I didn't remember and remember. Like I remembered a lot of these, like doing this before, and I'd always ask for cards for Christmas, and a lot of times I'd get baseball, and I was like, I don't like baseball cards, but I would always get them. And now I kind of like baseball cards for like the good cards, obviously. Just like I like hockey cards. I don't know anything about hockey, but I know, Eric Lindros, I know Chris Chelios and Mark Messier and Gretzky, and not so much the new players. I don't really know anything about new sports. Like I said, I started watching MMA around 2004, 2005. I graduated college in 2004. And all throughout college, I didn't watch much sports. I was just busy studying. And then after college, I started watching MMA. And I just watched every fight, like literally every fight. And I like the stories of the fighting. And I started doing jiu-jitsu, and I started training fighting a little bit myself. And kind of stopped watching traditional sports. It's always the same, it's the same old story. And I was just grown up, and I didn't feel like rooting for people that were younger than me. It just kind of seemed weird. Kirby Puckett, we'll put him in the winner's circle. Still no Barry Bonds. Got about 10 packs left. These ones are a little warped. But so far, the ones, the name cards I got, they weren't that bad. They weren't too warped, so I'm happy about that. The centering on most of them, I haven't really looked at them too closely. They look pretty good. I go crazy looking at the centering. I think every card's stick now, but I don't know. I just play games in my head. Like you gotta measure it, so doing it with a naked eye is pretty hard. It always looks a little off centered, but then sometimes it doesn't look off centered. But then I don't know. I think it is off centered. So who knows? I know who knows. PSA. They know. And so it doesn't matter if you know. It's whatever they say. So that's part of the game too, though. People will get frustrated with PSA, but they go to a different company, People seem to trust them. They need to be strict in order for this to continue. The more tens there are, the more tens will be less valued. The cheaper the 10 will be. They're being really strict on Michael Jordan cards, which is why I, am doing baseball and kind of staying away from basketball. I had 45. I've told this story before, but I had 45 Michael Jordan cards that were pretty good. I had over 100 Michael Jordan cards probably, but you can see my first video for this story about that. That's a pretty good story. But anyways, who knows what the grading on them were, but sorry, I'm concentrating here on the cards. But betting on Michael Jordan cards now, if the 7, 8s, and 9s are selling at good rates, then yeah, I could see betting on Michael Jordan cards. But if they're not, then no, stay away. So that was kind of my strategy right now. All right. 3 packs left. No Barry Bonds yet. Do them one at a time. So far, so good, I think. I'm happy with what I have so far. I think I can work with what I got. But it would be nice. It would be nice to get Barry. All right, nothing there. 2 more. Anyways, coming down to the last couple cards here, and all right, I'm gonna organize everything here. I'll go over the winning circle really quick. And again, if you saw anything that I didn't mention, and we're like, that should be in the winning circle, you can put that in the comment section. But what you can also do is just be like, hey, I didn't see that in the penny auction. And guess what? It will be in the penny auction. And if you play your cards right, you might be able to get it for a penny. And it might be worth something. And I might have looked over it because I'm not going to go through all these cards and see if they're worth anything. I'll go like on the internet and see what like the top 15 or top 20 cards are from this year. But everybody already knows what those are. They're, your Barry Bonds, your Mark McGuire, your Roger Clemens, your Jose Canseco. Maybe that Nolan Ryan is in the top, top 20. I don't know. But I think the Barry Bonds cards, there's a couple Barry Bonds cards, and I didn't get a single one. I didn't get a single Barry Bonds, which is disappointing. I saw Greg Maddox card. I swear I saw a Greg Maddox card, and I don't know where it went. Anyways, yeah, hang tight to the end of the video, and we'll go over the business plan, and I'll see what I'm gonna do with these. See what I'm gonna do with these cards. All right, so here it is. Here's my best card, my Bo Jackson. So after further review, so this Bo Jackson PSA 10, we're looking at about $100. So I don't know if it's all of them. I looked at them, and I don't know if I looked at them too much. But on the right side, it looks like it's a little right heavy, right to left. So I don't know. I don't know. I gotta look at what it goes in a PSA 9. But I went through them all, and yeah, they're in the $100 range. It's the Barry Bonds that's in like the $200 range, and that's all in a PSA 10. My goal was to like bet on PSA 9s with this case, and I didn't even. I mean, they're not even barely in the 100 range at the PSA 10. So I just don't know. Taking the chance, $25 a pop. I'm gonna do this. Jose Canseco is probably my best looking card. I'll probably save that one. I'll probably take a chance on the Jose Canseco. The Pete Rose is going to go. I'm going to put a pile here. The Pete Rose is going to go in the penny auction. This Don Mattingly is going to go in the penny auction. There's a bunch of cards from this year that go in the like $50 to $70 range. So there's a bunch of them. So, this Cal Ripken, this Roger Clemens, this Ricky Henderson has gone. No, I don't know. I didn't look at like how many times it's gone for these rates, but yeah, this Ricky Henderson went for $83. So. It's I mean, the sunring on it's okay. I don't know. I just don't know. That's the thing. I just don't know. I don't want to say, for myself, like, I don't know. I do not know. I look at it, and it's with the wood trim, it's hard to tell. I want to say that most of them are off right to left. This Will Clark, that's $49 at a PSA 10. That's probably not a PSA 10. I mean, there's just no way. You can't think they're going to be PSA 10s. I mean, you got to think they're going to be PSA 9s. Here's a Roger Clemens. Another Cal Ripken. I can't remember what the price, but these were like, I just went through them, and any that had like decent prices. That Clemens was like 32. That Cal Ripken's like 53. This Rafael Palmeiro was like $30. Market speculators will take cards like this and take a chance. Um, I don't know what the best move to do is. I would think to have someone rate it and then you buy it from that person, and then you can get it cheap as possible. This Keith Hernandez is like 100. It is pretty good looking. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's a little heavy on the right side, but that's a pretty good looking Keith Hernandez card. I think that was like 115 is the record on that Keith Hernandez card. Let me look here. I'm using this sportscardspro.com. I'm sure there's better apps, but this is just one that popped up. That Ozzie Smith card I had, I don't know. It was warped. I don't know if I threw it away. I don't know if it stuck to one of the wrappers, but I can't find it. Ken Griffey Sr., $18. I mean, this isn't my thing. Like these cards aren't something I get excited about. If it was basketball, like if this was like Nick Van Exel and like Tim Hardaway and like Jason Kidd, like the names I know, I would be like, yeah, I mean, take a chance on it. Dusty Baker. I mean, but this is that to some people. I mean, people know these names, and I'm looking through the prices, and it's like $50. So to the right person, I call him Eddie Murphy. I don't know, Eddie Murray. This guy, I mean, his card is like, what was it? Let me look here. It was like almost like $50. I want to say someone paid for it, and you can find it anywhere. I mean, I've come across a bunch of those cards. It's a pretty common card. But, yeah, the PSA 10. But I'm not taking that chance. I'm not going to go take these. This Tony Penna card was like, Eddie Murray, $47.98. Again, I don't know how many times it's gone for big numbers like that. I didn't look. I'm not looking too far into it. This Penna guy, $77. So, Jose Guzman, $101. I got two of them. One's better than the other. One, yeah, no gum same. One's better than the other. Tom Seaver, I noticed he had decent sales. Hershiser had a couple bucks on his. John Kruk, not a lot, but there was a couple bucks on his. And then the Jamie Moyer card here. Was a couple bucks as well, like $30 or something. So yeah, I'm gonna put them up for a penny. All but the, I don't know. I might even put the Bo Jackson up for a penny. I mean, if I'm not gonna take it to PSA, I'll let someone else play with it. I don't really know what to do with it, other than take it to PSA and then put it on auction. And I don't really know if I want to take that chance. I don't know. It's most likely a 9. But then you never know. With PSA, it could be like a 8. Who knows? I don't know that game very well. That's something I don't, I'm not going to get too frustrated with it. It's this Jose Canseco, that's probably, I'm going to keep that. I'm probably going to take that when I do it, like a bulk order to PSA. Now, PSA, you can take your cards and then put them up on their auction through like Golden Auctions. And there's one in February, and I'm thinking of doing that. And the reason I want to do that is because then they're going to grade it right away. So, I don't have to wait a year. I can get it graded, and then they can sell it for me. But then you have to. I don't know how that works, if they'll even do it if it's not like a big money card. I don't know if there's contingencies or how all that works. But as of right now, yeah, all these cards, besides the Mark McGuire, besides the Jose Canseco, and besides the Bo Jackson, and the Keith Hernandez, I think I'm going to hold on to that one and maybe get that graded. But I'm probably going to wait for a bulk order grading. I feel better about it if I hedge my bets. So I'll put 20 cards. I'll have like 1 or 2 cards that are like hopefully my guarantee 10s, and then guarantee bigger money on those. And then the other ones, hopefully I can my goal is to make more than the $400 or $500 I spent on those 20 cards. So I'll budget it that way, and then I can fudge my accounting papers by putting the cost of the other ventures in that venture to then make myself feel better about myself for losing once again $40 in the hole with a bunch of cards. I'm not going to make my money back with penny auctions, but that strategy again is to just drive people to the site, and just have some fun. Really, just have fun. That's really what it's all about. I looked at these. I didn't really see anything on these, but I'm gonna put them up anyway. I think everything else went back in the box. Maybe I'll put the box up for a penny as well. But I'll say it's been picked through. But who knows? There's probably the Kirby Puckets here. We're on that list of going for a couple bucks from PSA 10s, but I don't know if any of these are PSA 10s. This is a really good looking Roger Clemens. The borders on that one are pretty good. I don't feel like messing with it though. I don't know. I might evaluate it again, but pretty sure you'll see those over at the eBay site. So check out the hedge card manager over on eBay. And yeah, you've been watching the Head Card Manager here on YouTube. And please like and subscribe. It means a lot. And we'll see you next time.